In this video, we're going to take a look at the questions on homework number 1. So a lot of this has to do with the coordinate plane. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start by graphing the ordered pairs that are shown here in the question. Now, if you don't remember, an ordered pair consists of an x-coordinate and a y-coordinate. The x-coordinate is your movement along the x-axis, and your y-coordinate is your movement along the y-axis. So you'll see that these are left and right movements, and the y are up and down movements. So you got to make sure you're moving in the correct direction. Right? You got to make sure you're moving in the correct direction. So you always start at the origin. The origin is right here in the middle. And while you're there, you're going to move according to the x-axis first. So from the origin, I'm going to move 1 unit along the x-axis, and then I'm going to move according to the y-axis right here, which is the 0. So the y-axis, right, 1 movement along the x-axis, but 0 movement along the y-axis. So I'm going to stay right here. So on Delta Math, you're going to use your mouse, and you're going to click in that position. And once you click, the yellow dot will appear. If you try and click somewhere else, it will tell you you can't make any more points. But if you want to move this one, just click it again. Okay, so there's my first graph point. Let's try another one. -8, 7. So from the origin, I move -8 to the left on the x-axis. Then I move +7 up along this gray line. So I go all the way up to 7 and I click. Then I scroll down to the bottom of the screen and click submit, and yes. Now I'm going to get one wrong so you can see what happens when you get something wrong. So instead of going 2 to the right, I'm going to go 2 up here. I'm going to submit that wrong answer, and you'll notice I get a red X. And in the middle of the page, you're going to see an animation. Right? You're going to see this yellow dot that should be moving right 2 units, right? Since y equals 0, you don't move up or down. So it's telling me what I should be doing up here. Then down here in these red boxes, it tells me what I did wrong. You did not plot the correct point. You reversed the numbers and plotted 0, 2 instead of 2, 0. And your incorrect point is shown in red. So red is what I did, and that's wrong. All right, let's try the next topic, which is identifying points, which is the reverse of what we just did. They're going to show you a point on the coordinate plane, and you're going to have to type the numbers down here. Remember, starting from the origin, you're going to move left or right first. So in order to get to that black point, I have to move 1 to the right. So I'm going to put a 1 here. And then in order to reach that point, I'd have to go down 7 units. So I'm going to put a -7 there. So you can type it using your keyboard on your device, right? You just type 1, -7 in these boxes. And that's it. Let's try one more time. Looks like this time I have a 1, but I'm going to go up 9. So I type a 1, and then I type a 9. Oops, I typed an 8 by accident. So I'm going to click no. I'm going to go back and fix that. There we go. Green check means I got it right. So as soon as you get to 5, you can stop. The third one is a bit trickier because this one has a change of scale, which means that the number might not be on the scale. So the point 835 means from the origin, move 8 along the x-axis, but then it wants me to move 35 along the y-axis, and there's no 5s, right? There's 10, 20, 30, and 40. So I know that 35 is halfway between 30 and 40, so I'm going to click my dot approximately halfway. Let's see how I did. And they'll show you, yep, the green dot is perfectly overlapping my yellow dot. So I got it right. Let's try it one more time. I'm going to go to 6, which is here, and then I'm going to go up to 47. So here's 45, but the next box is 50. So it's 45, 46, maybe 47. I'll click here. Let's see how I did. When I estimate, okay, not too bad. You see how the yellow one is what I did, but the green one is the correct location. So my estimate was pretty good. All right, we're going to move on to some more challenging questions that you haven't seen since 6th grade, and that's reflecting points. The word reflection means to flip or mirror image. So let's take a look here. It asks me to plot the point S prime. Do you remember that little tick mark there is prime? Plot the point S prime, the reflection of S over the x-axis. So this is S, my starting point. And I want to create a point that's called S prime. But I need it to be in the same position, but jump over this x-axis down here. Here's my x-axis. So I want this point to jump over the x-axis and go perfectly, go perfectly in the other direction, like that. Go perfectly down there. So I'm going to take a look at this line there, right? You see this line here? Sorry, it's a little bit messed up. See that line there? Instead of my point being 6 units up from the number line, I want it to perfectly go 6 units down. So see how it's on that same vertical line? Once I click, it's going to ask me to type the coordinates. The original coordinates are -4, 6. But the new yellow coordinate is -4, -6. So they want you to observe what happened with the numbers. Did anything happen with the x number? Nope, the x coordinate stayed the same. Did anything happen to the y coordinate? Yes, there was a slight change. They have different signs. So when a point is reflected over the x-axis, the y coordinate changes sign. Because that's what reflections are about, opposites. So if I'm reflecting over the x, I change the opposite number. I change the y. Right, so there's the animation. Let's try it again. Plot the point S prime, the reflection of S over the x-axis. So again, I'm going to jump over the s-axis. Instead of it being 3 below, it needs to be 3 above. So let's write those coordinates. 2, -3, and the new one is 2, +3. Because when you reflect over x, you do the opposite. You change the y. Now let's try one more. Let's see, I think it gets more difficult after this. I'm going to have to go back in here. Okay. Just type this in real quick. Something went wrong with the computer. Fix it here. All set. Submit. All right, new problem. This one says, plot f prime, the reflection of f over the y-axis. So this time I want to go and jump the same number of units, but I want to jump over the y number line. So that's left to right. So instead of being 4 units to the right, I'm 4 units to the left. So let's type down the gray point first. The original point was 4, 1, and the yellow point is -4, 1. So you notice the difference? The only change is with the x coordinate. Okay, I think that you've got it. Now for the next lesson, they don't give you the graph, so you can't count boxes, you just have to follow the rules that you just learned. Point D is located at 6, 3 on the coordinate plane. Point D is then reflected over the x-axis, right? So if you have a pair of axes and you've got a point like 6, 3, and you want to reflect over the x-axis, right? If you're going over the x-axis, you change the y. So my next point, D prime, would be 6, negative 3. But then it says you're going to reflect that point over the y-axis to create point D double prime. So this time we're going to jump that way. And we're going to make a new point, D double prime. And when we move this point over the y-axis, we change the x coordinate. Remember, it's always opposite. So if I'm going over the y, I change the sign of the x. So those are the coordinates of D double prime. D double prime is negative 6, negative 3. So I'm going to erase that drawing, and I'm going to type that in. Negative 6, negative 3. It was a double transformation, a double reflection. Try one more time. P is at 4, 2. The reflection of P over the x-axis creates P prime. So we're going over x, so that means we change the y, right? It's reversed. Keep the 4 the same, change the sign of y. Let's do this one more time. Point A is at 2, negative 6. Point A is reflected over the y-axis, so if you reflect over y, you change the x. So this is the number we're going to change. So negative 2 to positive 2, everybody else stays the same. That's it. All right, let's try the next lesson. Let's take a look at the last topic here on perimeter. The first question asks us to find the length of the missing side. So it looks like they gave me the answer. They gave me the answer of 124.4. So if I added up all the numbers, the answer would be 124.4. So the question is, what's missing? So I'm going to add up all these numbers here so I see how much I have, and then I'll subtract it from 124. So it looks like I have some repeat numbers here. Looks like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, number 9. So I'm going to do 8 times 9 plus 8.1 plus 2, 17.4. So that's what I'm going to type in my calculator. So 8 parentheses 9 plus 8.1 plus 2 parentheses 17.4. And I like to use the parentheses on my calculator. I like to use those buttons because it's just faster. So I got a sum of 114.9. But the answer is supposed to be 124.4. So I'm going to subtract 114.9. Take that away from, whoops, I forgot the 0.4 here. So 124.4 minus 114.9 is a difference of 9.5. So it looks like the missing length is 9.5. So that's how you find a missing side. You add up all the sides you know and subtract it from the perimeter you're given. Now, if they ask you, right, to find the missing side, the fastest thing to do really is look for that shortcut to see if you have any duplicate numbers. So I've got 3 13.2s. So in my calculator, I'm going to type 3 13.2s. 3 times 13.2, right? That's these here. I've got 2 11.3s, so I'm going to add that to 2 11.3s, and then I'll have to add those two separately, right? Because they're not repeats. So I'm going to say 3 parentheses 13.2 plus 2 parentheses 11.3 plus 48.4 plus 24.2. So it looks like I have a total of 134.8, but the actual answer is supposed to be 144.5. So I need to subtract these numbers here. So if I subtract that, I'm going to get a difference of 9.7. So I'm going to type that here. I feel like that was the answer to the last question. All right. This next question simply asks you to find the perimeter. So you just have to add up all these numbers. Again, look for a shortcut. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? You have 8, 7.8. So use that to help you. All right, the last topic. Perimeter algebraic. So you're going to use the same math. You're just not going to do it with numbers. So look around the perimeter of this shape and see how many letters you have that are alike. Right, so I've got 1, 2, 3 E's, so 3 E's. I've got 1 D, 1 F, 1 G, 2 G's. I've got 2 G's, so 3 E, I got those here, 3 E's, 1 F, but I have 2 G's. And then I also have 1 D and 1 H. Now, usually I would write my letters in alphabetical order, like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter for this one. So I'm going to go ahead and type that in. 3 E's, 1 F, so I'm going to type 3E plus the letter F plus the letter D plus 2 G's plus an H. All right, so I type that all in there. Let's see how we did. Awesome. So let's try another one. Again, they want us to express the perimeter, right, the sum of all the sides, using combining like terms. Let's take a look here. How many L's do I have? Because there's a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 L's. So I'm going to write that here. 8 L's. Looks like I have a J on the top and the bottom, plus 2 J's, plus 2 K's, and I'm done. And that, oh, what did I make a mistake here? 8 L's, 2 J's, 2 K's, 2 J's, 2 K's, 8 L's. Oh, this was, oh man, I wrote 2 plus signs by accident. Oh man, well, I do know what I'm doing, but I made a typo, so that's why I marked it wrong. Hopefully you guys don't make that same mistake. All right, good luck. Once you get 5 answers right, you're done with all of your homework.